Well, hello YouTubers, this is Bob Hickman. It is so good to be back with all of you. Well, a lot of you wrote letters to me and you said, Bob, I want to learn more about, magical charms and spiritual practices and tools of the Wiccan faith and things like that. So I thought we would continue with some of our videos. And anyways, I wanted to talk today to you guys about a very wonderful tool that is oftentimes not really discussed so much in Wiccan circles. Whenever we see, there are a lot of videos about magic wands and chalices and pentacles, but there's one thing people always forget. What about the Book of Shadows? That's right, the Book of Shadows. The Book of Shadows is also a spiritual tool. And like the chalice and the wand, it goes on the altar, and it should be something that resonates deeply with a magical practitioner. Anyways, I decided to do this video because I started a new Book of Shadows, and I wanted to come here and show you my new Book of Shadows. Now, in the past I had a very large Book of Shadows, and it's beautiful, but I realized that for me the Book of Shadows need to be a little more accessible. So I got a small book that I can carry everywhere, because I oftentimes find when I'm out in nature or doing meditations, an inspiration will come to me and I think, oh, I wanted to record that for my Book of Shadows. So I got a new small Book of Shadows, and I wanted to show this to you here. Now, this is made of green leather, and as you can see, it's got some beautiful work on it. In the old days, books were made of leather, and I know that's probably not kosher with a lot of people, but I can't help it. I love this book, and I bought it anyways. But this is all hand-tooled leather, and you can see on the front we've got the beautiful green goddess and beautiful Celtic spiraling knotwork. That's her pouring water out. It's like the waters of life. And then on the back side of the book, we have the goddess here with the moon, looks like behind her, and the stars, and the silver rays of the moon coming down from her. And I just think this is beautiful. And down here at the bottom, this is her like pouring out water into the earth again. It's kind of like life energy. And I just love this book. I think it's really something. So if you want to start, your own Book of Shadows, I would encourage you, try to find a book that speaks to you. You might want to look online for journals, blank books. And nowadays, a lot of stores carry actual Books of Shadows, which are blank books. But if you can't find something, at a metaphysical store or online, look at your local bookstore for journals, and many of them have blank books as well. So anyways, I started this journal, and this is just now. I really don't have much in it right now. But one of the things that's traditional is you want to start by creating a title page. Now I did a little bit of calligraphy here. It's not done, but I'm working on doing vines that are going to fill this, and it says Book of Shadows, and I wrote this. Now, a lot of people say, well, Bob, I use a computer. Can I type my Book of Shadows? Yeah, you can, but it is traditional and was always done in the old days to handwrite everything, and I like the feel of handwriting. As much as I love our computer age, I do sometimes miss the old handwritten things, and I think the Book of Shadows is a wonderful place to find greater creative expression. So anyways, this book is a blank book. The pages are actually recycled paper made of cotton and fabric scraps. So it's all environmental. And anyways, I decided to start my Book of Shadows with a poem that I wrote called The Green Goddess. Now this is my creation, my poem. And anyways, in my Book of Shadows, I like to write poetry sometimes, where I feel that my connection with spirit comes out in poetic inspiration. And really, if you study rituals, you'll notice that many rituals are very poetic. So I think poetry and witchcraft go together. So I thought to start my Book of Shadows, I would read to you guys one of my poems. This is called The Green Goddess. And I wrote this because I was inspired by the cover of the book with the goddess. And as I was out walking in the park recently, I thought how beautiful the world is and how present the goddess is for us. So I'm going to read our poem here. The Green Goddess. Green grass beneath my feet, whispers her words of inspiration, secrets meant for only those with gentle spirits, untainted by skepticism. A soft wind stirs the branches, bowed down in their heavy finery. Midsummer's lush foliage, a testament to her majesty. Walking, waiting, sensing her presence. Filled hearts of joy unspoken, yet more potent than an empire's glory. A moon larger than earth rises before me, mesmerized by silver light, twinkling off shining blades of grass that tickle my toes. I stare in wonder of this mystic celestial display all around me, above, below, around. The green goddess calls to me. Her voice calls me child. I respond, mother. I remember a time long ago when this calling was heard by all, and her children numbered many more. So that's my poem, The Green Goddess, and that's going to be the beginning of my new Book of Shadows. Now, another point for Book of Shadows, if you decide to handwrite one, I'm going to encourage you to get a special pen that you use just for your book. I have such a pen that I purchased recently, and it's specifically for my Book of Shadows. You can see it's a beautiful lacquered pen with gold highlights. And this is actually an old-time fountain pen. Now, I don't know how many of you watching have ever seen a fountain pen, so I'm dating myself here. But back when I was a kid, a lot more people had these. But these are pens that you actually fill with ink. This has like kind of a pretty little gold and silver nib. And you can do calligraphy with these pens. And, you know, in fact, many people have ink that they buy. In fact, let me show you here. If you decide to get a fountain pen for your Book of Shadows, I think, one, you'll love it because you can do very beautiful scripted writing. And you can also buy ink at usually office supply stores. Now, this is a famous ink called Parker Quink. It's a black ink, and it comes in a box, and it's a liquid ink. And basically what you do is you unscrew your pen. I'll show you how this works if you buy one so you'll know, because if you don't know how to work it, you won't be able to use it. But basically you unscrew the barrel of the pen, and inside is a cartridge. Then you dip the tip of your pen into the ink, and you draw ink up into the chamber. Now I'm not going to touch this one because I'll squirt ink everywhere. But after you do that, then you've got a pen that writes. And then what you want to do is simply put the cartridge back into the casing, and it screws on, and you've got your top. And you now have a wonderful classic pen. Now these pens are lovely because you can wear them in your suit pocket. They make nice displays if you're going to job interviews. They're wonderful to carry. But really I'd recommend that if you like fountain pens, get one that you only use for your Book of Shadows. And this pen is set aside for my spiritual writing and work, and therefore it's very sacred. So I carry it with me, and when the inspiration moves and spirit moves, then I can write in my Book of Shadows. I would encourage you really think about your Book of Shadows as something you keep with you, like a working tool, because you may be out somewhere and you may get an inspiration or learn about an herb or a crystal, and you want to record that in your Book of Shadows. One of the things that I found in making my Book of Shadows was, you know, if you read online, a lot of people say, well, you have to record this and this and this and this and this. And really, I would say, don't feel compelled to have to write things in your Book of Shadows. Write what you want. For example, I used to, feel that I had to write out my whole moon ritual in my Book of Shadows. And that would take pages and pages of writing. And I realized I never really used it because I had memorized my moon ritual. So I thought, why am I putting energy into writing that if it doesn't really speak to me? Because many of my rituals are spontaneous and much more free-flowing. But my poetry is something that I do want to capture. So my Book of Shadows will have a lot of poetry in it. And I'll put some herbal information in it and some spell work. And, so with your Book of Shadows, let it come to life. Let it be a tool that inspires you. Okay? Anyways, do you guys have a Book of Shadows? Are you working on one? If so, I'd love to see a video response. But thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I'm so honored that all of you are here. So remember, find a beautiful pen and a beautiful book of shadows and work your magic through them. Thanks for being here, guys. Listen, give me some video responses, comments in the box below, and if you like this, thumbs up. We'll see you soon. Blessed be.